As you come onto your mat, bring yourself into about the middle of the mat in Sukhasana, and we're still working with that active version of Sukhasana. Four corners of your feet facing off the side edges of the mat, heels pulling isometrically towards the sits bones. See if you can feel how that tilts your pelvis, lifts the tailbone, creates the lordosis in the low spine. And then once you have your seat, bring your hands into Shank Mudra. So you're holding your left thumb with your right fingers, right thumb and left middle fingertips connected, left fingers over your right fist, elbows relaxed by your sides. Lift your sternum up, draw the back of your skull up, and tune into your ocean-sounding breath. See if you can hear the breath inside the neck, in the throat. This whole area here of the neck, the voice, the ears is our focus. And to continue our theme of truth, I'll give you a quote from a man named Parker J. Palmer, who says, "Truth is an eternal conversation about things that matter, conducted with passion and discipline. Truth can't possibly be found in the conclusions because the conclusions keep changing. So if we want to live in the truth, it is not enough to live in the conclusions of the moment. We must find a way to live in the continuing conversation with all its conflicts and complexities while staying in close touch with our own inner teacher." So in today's practice, we're going to be playing with shifting ground, with that constant change moment to moment in balancing. We're going to tune in to the inner teacher, Guru Dev, breathing in for the first of three. As you inhale, press your hands out like you're stopping traffic. Bring your hands behind you as you exhale, and bring yourself up into the squat that will work for you for that Charlie's Angels movement. So you might have your feet a little wider, a little narrower, at a bit of an angle. See what's going to work best for you. And again, if it doesn't work for you to come up and down, then just stay low in your squat. If you're moving up and down, inhale to lift up, exhale to come down. Hands are in Venus Mudra, right out from the heart center, your gun of love. Keeping your shoulders broad, jaw relaxed. Just doing a few of these to get warmed up, to warm up the legs. Last one. This next time that you lift up, bring your arms up overhead, inhale, and then as you exhale, release back behind you, transitioning some of that more dynamic energy up into the shoulders, from the strength of your legs, up through your spine into your shoulders, opening up your shoulder joints. And as you keep circling your arms, step your way forward towards the front edge of the mat, and we're going to do that supported standing banana series. So we're going to start with back banana. As you bring your hands down this next exhale, bring the heels of your hands to your bum. Find the place where your shoulders are down on your back, so you may have to come a little lower. Lift your toes, your kneecaps, your pubic bones, low belly up, and continue that lift up, especially as you inhale into your sternum. Draw your chest up towards your chin. exhale, pull your elbows towards each other behind you, like brackets, helping to support this curve in your spine. Feel the strength of your back supporting the opening of the front. So anchor down through your heels and your tailbone and through your shoulder blades as you pull elbows in. Finding the place where you can breathe. If you're not breathing, you're too far. This next time that you inhale, leverage your way back up so you don't sink into your low back. And coming into side banana, right hand on your right thigh, shoulders broad on your back. Reach through the heel of your left hand and let your head release towards your right shoulder so you can feel the left side of your neck opening. And then as you take your hips over to the left, feel or see that you haven't twisted, so your front hips are facing straight ahead. Lift up through both arches. Notice how that right arch wants to collapse. And then continue lifting up through your legs and lift the breath right up into your left ribs, opening your ribs up towards your left arm. So next time that you exhale, release to center, curve your back. And this time, instead of interlacing your fingers, bring your hands into Hakini Mudra. So you bring the tips of your fingers together like you're wrapping your fingers around a small ball. See if you can find the intensity of curving your back, stretching along your spine, and yet keep your fingers light, the connections between the tips light. Next time you exhale, let your head release and your hands release and transition over to your side banana on the other side. So bringing your left hand to your left thigh, right hand reaching down through the heel of the hand. And as you let your head roll towards your left shoulder, check both shoulders are clear from your neck. Lift up as though you're breathing from the ground upwards, from your inner arches, right up through the lengths of your legs, the muscles of your legs lifting up, opening space in your joints, and then all along that whole right side, through your ribs, into the right side of your neck. Give that one more inhale. And as you exhale, roll your way back to center into your curve, your cat stretch with your knees bent and your hands in Hakini Mudra. And then as you give the length of your spine, the curve of your spine, a bit of space and breath, this last inhale, then exhale and come upright to standing with your hands still in Hakini Mudra. We're going to come into the first of our balancing here. And this mudra in the hands is helping the two hemispheres of the brain work together, creating a bridge between them. Bridging space is one of our themes in this practice. Look below the mudra in your hands. See or feel that your arms are round, curved. And take your gaze down without dropping your chin down. Keep the lift through your body as you bend your knees so you get closer to the ground but stay lifted up. And then shift your weight into your right foot, keeping your right knee bent. And start to draw your left knee up towards you, but only to the extent that your low back doesn't round. So you keep your tailbone dropped down. See if you can feel that long line from your tail to your head. This next time that you exhale, swoop your left leg up and back, lengthening both legs as you do that. Push the ground away with your right heel and bring your torso forward so your head comes between your arms, as though you're going to put that mudra, that symbol in your hands, on the very top of your head, keeping your shoulders broad on your back. Play with the balance. Accept the wobbling. Befriend the wobbling. So if you come out of it, just take your time to come back into it. Don't rush. Give that one more inhale to lift up, push the ground away with your right heel, and then as you exhale, step back, bringing your feet parallel to each other like you're standing on train tracks. Lift up through your legs, radiate out through your arms, 5-pointed star. And then this next time that you inhale, keeping your shoulders broad on your back, turn towards the front edge of your mat, towards your right foot. And as you exhale, drop your torso over and bring your left hand somewhere along the length of your right leg that your legs stay long. And then push the ground away with your heels, lift up through your legs. You may need to lift your toes and lift your kneecaps. As you inhale, come up and turn. Exhale, looking over the left leg. Fold over as you exhale. So you're moving with your breath. Inhale, lift up, push the ground away with your heels, lift up through your long, strong legs. And as you exhale, turn, twist at your waist so your hands stay opposite each other, your shoulders stay broad. And find where this feels like you're moving through space, as though space is denser than you're used to. A sense of maybe moving through water or honey. So there's one steady, slow motion, and really listen to your breathing. If you feel balanced, you might like to close your eyes so you can open your ears, tune your ears to what you're doing. So you're inhaling, pushing the ground away, lifting up, lengthening through the long lines of your legs, your spine, your arms, your neck, space open. Exhale and turn, fold over and release down, and be honest with yourself. Truth is one of our key words here. So don't get caught up in trying to bring your hand to your foot or your ankle. Go to the place where your legs stay long. Your kneecaps stay lifted. Work from there with honesty and integrity, and eventually that will start to ease out and you'll make your way longer down your leg. Inhaling to come up, exhaling to turn and fold over. This is called windmill. And this next time that you find your left hand at your right leg, hang out here, let your head release down, top of your head dropping down, and your right hand up in the air easily, lightly. Finding the place where your left hand can be on your leg when you square your hips. And you can feel this because your heels are pressed evenly into the ground and you're not feeling a deepened inner left thigh stretch. So if you're feeling that, lift that left hip up. You may even need to look underneath and see where your hips are. Press the outer edges of your feet into the ground. Press down through your heels to lift up through your legs. Inhale through that lift and then exhale. Think of releasing your spine, your head, your left arm down. This next time that you exhale, keep your legs and your hips and just change sides. So bring your right hand to your left leg. And notice when you make that transition how that right hip wants to sink. See if you can keep it lifted. Finding where your feet are squared. Pressing your heels down, lifting up through your legs. Noticing the depth that you go into by staying here and breathing. Checking that you can breathe. Give that one more inhale. And then as you exhale, release your head and your hands to center. Soften your knees and push the ground away with your feet, keeping your knees bent. Uncurl your spine. If it feels like your feet are too wide, then heel toe in so you feel more stable. As you come upright, turn your toes out towards the corners of the mat, but be conservative with that turn so that when you bend your knees, the eyes of your knees align over your middle toes. Draw your low belly in and up, aim your tailbone down. As you bend your knees, so feel your outer hips strong as we're coming into Kali Devi. Double check the distance of your feet is something you can work with. Once you get your foundation set in your feet, your knees, your hips open, your core strong, add your arms in so they frame your head, spreading your fingers out, your shoulders broad, and then focus your eyes on a point to help stabilize you. And if your toes are lifted, bring them back down and lift your heels instead. You may need to do one at a time in order to get up onto this high heel stance. Find where your heels are lifting up above the balls of your feet, and notice how when you lift up through your heels, that radiates up through your legs and tends to want to radiate all the way up to your shoulders. So if it has, drop your shoulders down, release your shoulders broad. Give that one more inhale, and then as you exhale, bring your heels back down and see if you can take your tailbone a little bit lower, take your stance a little bit deeper. If your knees have gone way past your ankles, then widen your feet. Spread your fingers out wide and broaden your shoulders. Keep your head steady. Inhale, and then as you exhale, stretch your tongue out and roar like a lion. And do that twice more. This is very good for clearing out any unexpressed emotions. So if you have anything that you haven't been saying that's gotten clogged up in your neck and your shoulders, last chance to roar it out. Exhale, stretch out through your tongue, through the sound. And then push the ground away with your heels, lengthen your legs, lengthen your arms, and turn your right toes towards the front, transition into right lunge. Find your distance left to right, front to back. so that you have the alignment of toes, ankles, knees, and front hips. You're not too wide or too narrow. And then feel the strength of that left leg, thigh lifting up in the back, and your belly lifting up so you can lighten some of the weight in your hands. This next time that you inhale, push the ground away with your hands, lift your hips up, draw your right toes up, and lift your back heel up. So you bring everything up really tall. And then from that height, square. Align your middle toes with your ankle, with your knee, with your hip on the right, and do the same with the back and square your hips. So you're drawing your right hip back, your left hip forward, and once you get that squaring, then start to stretch your left heel towards the ground, keeping your inner arch lifted. You can do the knee down version of this if that's where your energy and your strength is today. Use your hands instead of sinking into them to push the ground away. And then as you start to find the lengths of your legs and you can breathe into that sensation, then start to lengthen your spine. Taking your shoulders back onto your back, clearing your neck, stretch the top of your head forward away from your tail. Give that one more inhale so you're lifting up away from the ground with the in-breath. And then as you exhale, come forward into your lowest lunge. If this is not a safe posture for your knee, then just stay in high lunge. If you're comfortable going forward, taking that knee into that sharp angle, bring your knee forward over your toes, keeping your inner arch lifted, and feel the increased stretch in the front of your left thigh into your groin as you bring your left knee closer to the ground. Minimize the weight in your hands if you can by finding the strength in your legs and your core, but use them as you need to. And this next time that you exhale, use them to push the ground away, come back into that long-legged stretch, and see if you can find it all in one breath. So you exhale to find it, inhale to be in it, and then exhale and push off with your left toes and transition forward, bringing your weight onto your right foot, hands forward about a hand's length from your right toes. And as you push the ground away with your right heel and you work length into your right leg, release your head down, look underneath and see your left leg lengthening up and see that your left toenails are facing the ground so you haven't opened your left hip towards the sky. Use your hands pushing the ground away to help you lengthen your right leg up and to broaden your shoulders onto your back. Standing split. Give it another breath. Inhale, lengthen up from your right foot to your left toes, and as you exhale, see if you can release your spine, release your head a little bit deeper towards the ground. Bridging space from one end to the other. This next exhale, release your left foot down, find your mountain stance, feet squared underneath you, and move into standing spinal flex. So bring your hands wherever on your legs, your low back is long, your tail is lifted, and you can clear your shoulders from your neck as you inhale. And then as you exhale, let your back round, your spine release, your head release without your legs collapsing. So you're keeping the lift and the support of your legs, moving with your breath, and transitioning your breath to a slower pace, so you're regaining your control over the breathing. Slowing down. This next time that you inhale, decide how you're going to come up. Do you want to bend your knees or keep everything long? And as you come up, bring your arms out and up, coming into Utthita Tadasana, or extended mountain pose. And we're going to do that standing banana series now without the arms supporting. So really strong legs. Lift your toes, your kneecaps, your low belly in and up. Anchor your tailbone, your shoulder blades down, and move your hips forward, lifting your sternum up. Let your whole front body open as you inhale. Exhale, engage, strengthen the back body. Shoulder blades down on the back. Finding where you curve from your heels to your head without leading with the chin. Back of your neck long. Draw your chest up towards your chin. Next time that you inhale, lift your way back up to center. And as you exhale, interlace your fingers into Venus Mudra. If you've been doing the same lacing each time, change it so your other thumb is on top. Inhale and lengthen up really tall. Exhale, clear your neck. Slide your shoulders down, keeping toes, ankles, thighs, and belly lifted, shoulders broad. Move over to the left with your upper body. Take your hips out to the right, keeping your front hips and your underarms squared forward, your head lifted towards your hands. So you're lifting out of the ground, out of your root system, not collapsing and dying towards the floor. Find your breath in there. If you're not breathing, you're too far. Find that ocean sound. Next time you inhale, lift up from the ground, from your feet all the way up. Slide your shoulders down if they lifted you up, and curve over to the right. See if you can feel again that sense of being a banana. You're curving from your feet all the way up to your fingertips. So you're not breaking anywhere along the way. Breathing slow and steady. Taking your chin off your chest, so you have space underneath your chin. Lift your head towards your hands. Bring yourself all the way back up. Inhale to come up. And as you exhale, bring your hands into Hakini Mudra. Wrap them around an imaginary ball and bring them down about heart level. Round your arms, bring your shoulder blades onto your back. Keep your chin lifted, but look down. So it's like you're looking down your nose. Look underneath that symbol in your hands. Find a spot on the ground. And let your knees bend so your center of gravity gets a little bit lower, yet keep your head lifted. Find the length from your head to your tail. Keeping your knees bent, shift your weight to your left foot. Find your balancing act here. We go from bent knees to long legs and balancing. So notice the difference in how to balance when your legs are bent. And only draw your right knee up to the extent that your tail doesn't tuck under or forward. So you're keeping it long. This next time that you exhale, push the ground away with your left heel, draw your right leg up and back, lengthen both legs, pressing out through the ball of your right foot and down through the heel of your left leg. See if you can keep your hips squared so your right hip faces the ground. You're taking that whole length of your torso and just folding it forward. Bring your head between your arms, shoulders still clear on your back. So it's like you're trying to put that ball in your hands on the top of your head, keeping space around your neck. Keep a sense of humor as you wobble. Push the ground away. Lengthen up through your left leg without locking and back through the right leg. Long line. Take up lots of space. So as you step your right foot back, align your heels, turn your toes out, and see if you can bring yourself straight into Kali Devi. Can you find the angles of your feet, the alignment of your knees, the drop of your tailbone, and your arms all in one go? If not, take more time and prioritize the low back and the knees. And then finding your depth, double-checking that when you take your thighs more parallel to the ground, you go a little deeper with this stance, that your knees are over your ankles, they haven't gone too far past. Especially if you tend to feel your knees, lift your toes, lift your inner ankles, inner arches, opening your knees out over your ankles, broaden your shoulders onto your back. Focus your gaze on a point. And see if you can take the stance a little deeper, bringing thighs parallel. And in order to hold the stance, to stay with the intensity, we're going to release out through this release valve in the mouth with Kali Mudra in the mouth. So next time you exhale, stretch your tongue long, reach it towards your chin. Keep the back of your neck long, shoulders broad. 2 more. Strong roar out over your tongue. Release out what you don't need. This next time that you inhale, push the ground away, bring your feet parallel to each other, fold over with your upper body, coming into your side-to-side lunges. So ease your way down gently, slowly into that inner left thigh by bending your right knee. Keep your waist long and your shoulders broad. Find the strength in your right leg as you find the stretch in your inner left thigh. Look over, see your left toes lifted up, your left kneecap lifted up, and then in back, see if you can lift your sits bones, your tailbone up, so you get that lordosis, that curve in your low back. If you're folded over more like a slide than a table, bring your head and your shoulders up more level with your hips. Find your breath as though your breath can access that stretch on your inner left leg. Use your next exhale to push with your right foot and ease your way over to the other side, keeping your left waist long. There can be a tendency here to start to turn towards your left foot, but see if you can stay more centered. Top of your head reaching away from your tail, shoulders broad, waist even, and find the action more in your left leg, left knee bending, and the stretch in your right inner thigh. Check your right arch is lifted, right kneecap is lifted. And then breathing deep into that stretch. See if you can start to nutate your tailbone, your pelvis upwards, sits bones up. All of these little adjustments, these micro movements, keep them small so that you can check that you're still breathing into what you're doing. And this next time that you exhale, lighten the weight in your hands. See if you can move with the strength of your legs. Ease your way over to the right side. Inhale into it and move side to side very slowly. So it's a slow ocean sounding breath, using your exhale to transit and your inhale to inhabit, to feel that stretch. Feel free to use your hands if you need them to support. Otherwise, lighten and hold your torso up through your core strength and your leg strength instead of your arm strength. And this next time that you're over at your left side, left knee is bent, use your exhale, don't rush when you get there, use your exhale to transition into your high lunge. Left toes forward, right heel back, finding your distance left to right, front to back. In your high lunge where your knee is over your ankle, and you can feel that right thigh lifting up, the right heel reaching back. So use your hands, but then lighten the weight in the hands. And then we're going to use the strength in the hands to come into your long-legged stretch. So push the ground away with your hands. Lift your hips and your left toes and your right heel up. It's as though you're trying to lift your whole body up off the ground. So find as much height as you can. In that height, square your hips, right hip forward, left hip back. Square your toes with your heels, with your knees, with your front hips, and then find the depth of the stretch, keeping your left toes squared, big toe and little toe, and your right heel squared behind the middle right toes. Think of pushing the ground away with your fingers, with your left heel, so you're not sinking into that heel. Feel free to do the knee down version if that's a better option for you. And then start to find the length along the spine. So clearing your shoulders from your neck, stretch the top of your head away from your tail, so your back becomes more parallel to the ground as you find the depth. This next exhale, transition into your lowest lunge, which might be a high lunge if that's what's safe for your knee. If you're coming ahead of your ankle with your knee, see if you can keep your inner ankle, inner arch lifted, and breathe into that right thigh psoas stretch. Letting that right knee get closer to the ground and yet still feeling that you're reaching back through the heel. So when you add that little reach through your heel, that'll deepen the psoas stretch. Next, inhale, do one breath, long-legged stretch. Push the ground away as you exhale. Bring your hips up, square. Inhale into the stretch. And then as you exhale, push off with your right toes coming into standing split. Anchor down through your left heel, hands a little bit ahead of your left toes. And keeping your hips square, draw your right leg up underneath. So when you drop your head down, look underneath and see that your little right toenail is facing the ground instead of off the right side of the mat. And then push the ground away with your hands to help lift your left kneecap up. Draw that left hip joint up away from the heel. Keeping the length in the left leg, see how much length and height you can find in the right leg. Letting your head release down. Give it one more breath to rise up from your left heel to your right toes. And as you exhale, release into standing spinal flex. So you're bringing your feet parallel underneath you and your hands wherever on your legs. Your low back is long. So be honest with yourself. Apply our keyword of truth here. Where is your low back long? And curved towards the ground instead of towards the ceiling. So your hands might need to be up on the top of your thighs, if you're being honest. Don't get caught up in the ego's idea of where you should be by bringing your hands to your toes and then compromising everything else. Find the lift of your toes, your kneecaps, unless you need to modify, and the length of your head reaching away from your tail. That one more breath, one more stretch. And as you exhale, release your way down onto your back, stretching through your back as you hold the backs of your legs, easing out along your spine, finding space in the vertebrae. And settle yourself down into Shavasana, corpse pose. As you find the alignment of your ankles with your hips and your shoulders, if that isometric stretch in the back of your neck worked for you in the first round, do it again here. If not, just do an easy stretch. And then, keeping the strength of your arms so your head stays heavy, now engage your neck as though you're bringing your head towards the ground. And breathe steadily. Next time that you exhale, soften that engagement, and then use your arm strength to see if you can pull your head up a little bit higher, if you can increase that stretch without strain, without clenching your teeth. And if it feels good, head over to each side, opening the sides of the back of your neck, slowing your breathing down. And as you come back to center after having done both sides, check that your nose is aligned with your midline and draw your head out and back without tucking your chin down towards your throat. And finding where you can rest your head, rest your body. Allow yourself to settle into spaciousness and stillness and silence for a few moments. After a few moments, I'll bring you back out with my voice. As you continue to rest, as your body continues to be still and relaxed on the ground, I'll read you a quote from Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth around our theme of truth. He writes, "The truth is inseparable from who you are. Yes, you are the truth. If you look for it elsewhere, you will be deceived every time. The very being that you are is truth." Jesus tried to convey that when he said, "I am the way and the truth and the life." These words uttered by Jesus are one of the most powerful and direct pointers to the truth, if understood correctly. If misinterpreted, however, they become a great obstacle. Jesus speaks of the innermost I am, the essence identity of every man and woman, every life form, in fact. He speaks of the life that you are. Some Christian mystics have called it the Christ within. Buddhists call it your Buddha nature. For Hindus, it is Atman, the indwelling God. When you're in touch with that dimension within yourself, and being in touch with it is your natural state, not some miraculous achievement, all your actions and relationships will reflect the oneness with all life that you sense deep within. This is love. Becoming aware of your breath, if you're not already. Aware of the breath moving in and out of the body. And adding a little more energy to it so that you support yourself from the inside out in transitioning from the stillness and maintaining any level of spaciousness that you found in that stillness by minimizing the effort, by being aware of what you need to engage and only engaging what you need to bring yourself from stillness into whatever movement feels good, maybe a bit of stretch or wiggle or twist or massaging your back. Eventually making your way up to your sitting posture, your active sukhasana. Evolve your way up from the ground. See if you can let your head come up last so you're supported by what's underneath instead of trying to hoist yourself up by your chin or your neck. And once you establish your seat where your heels are drawing towards your sits bones to help lift and lengthen your spine, bring your hands into Shank Mudra and become aware again of the sound of your breath and any other sounds within or without you, outside of you. And then acknowledging yourself in your practice. Namaste to you. And unfolding your hands into Atmanjali Mudra, Atman, that indwelling God, and acknowledging anyone else you're practicing with. Namaste.